Hi, it's Abby. This time I am sculpting a 4-ounce baby food jar into Thing from Addams Family, and I chose the original Thing instead of the new Wednesday Thing. This is the lidless 4-ounce baby food jar that I chose to use as my base, and I'm using aluminum wire as for armature. I don't actually know the gauge of this because it's not on the package, but it's fairly thick, and I wrap it around the top to essentially make an anchor around the wrist, and I double up some wire and wrap it around each other to make the fingers. I want it to be able to hold its own weight and stand by itself. Here it is, all wired up and ready for clay. And I go in with a layer of Super Sculpey around the top, and I just mold out the shape of the jar and just add and take away clay until it starts looking how I want it to. For the fingers, I roll up a snake of clay and I cut it down the center to put the wire in it, and I wrap it around like that, and I make fingers, and I just sculpt until it starts looking like a hand. We've got the general shape, so I'm trying to add some webbing here just to connect the fingers and make it less stick-like. Here I'm adding more clay for the palm of the hand. I just go in and I build up and take away until it starts looking more and more like a hand. I use my own hand for reference a lot, so it's kind of just got long, skinny, knobbly fingers. I add more clay after all of the palm clay is there to connect the fingers and create the webbing, just to build up and connect, and so it's starting to come together and become more of a hand rather than a jar with sticks on it. Some of the fingers are still pretty disproportionate, so I'm going in and I'm adding in more where it needs to be in the knuckle regions, and just where the fingers are thin and where they've been sloppily put together to begin with, just to get a base layer. I just keep sculpting and sculpting and adding and taking away until I'm happy with it and it really starts looking like a hand.
I switching my you switch.
What?
I switch, okay?
You switch.
I switch, okay? Leave me alone.
No, okay.
Get.
Do I need to beat you up? Quit. Get out of here.
Okay.
So the entire time I'm sculpting, I'm wondering why the hand looks wrong, and then I realized that I'm just missing the entire bottom of the palm. So I'm adding that on now. I'm using a little tool to indent where the fingernail bed is. I ended up going back over this with a rubber shaper because I didn't like what this was doing. And I also added wrinkles, which I poorly filmed, so this is what you get. And for the lid, I'm going to use epoxy sculpt, and so I'm making sure that it doesn't actually adhere to the glass jar or the super sculpey by putting down this layer of cellophane and rubber banding it down before I sculpt over it. You take part A and part B, and you gotta wear gloves to mix it because it is a chemical reaction, and that's what makes it harden. To sculpt, you don't necessarily have to, so I don't because it's really hard to sculpt with gloves on. And I just built this up, and I especially built it around the rim because I want to get the impression of the threads to make this a functional jar. Off camera, I just dip my finger in water and smooth this all out, and this is what we end up with after it's baked. And I go in and I prime it with some gesso paint before I actually go in with color. I use a lighter version of the skin tone to paint the nails for a natural skin tone, and then I go in to all the creases and cracks in the hand with a darker wash, and then I wipe it off with my finger and a paper towel to get a natural gradient in the skin tone. And after that, I go back in with a fine tip paintbrush and really make sure that the cracks have a darker color. And then he gets a little gloss manicure just to make it actually shiny where the nails are. And look at that, gorgeous! I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I really love the detail in the palm. I think the one thing that I'm not a fan of is just like the fact that I had to use epoxy sculpt. I'm not as familiar with it as I am with super sculpey yet, and so it doesn't look as good. I probably should have sanded it and stuff and just gotten it to line up a little bit better. And also it was kind of hard to hide the metal joints that I made for the fingers, but other than that, I think it turned out really cool. Like, I'm pretty pleased with how good that looks. Thank you for supporting my art and watching me make things. If you like what I make, subscribe so you can watch me make more things. And like this video if you like this video. If you want to try and buy some more, I will link my Etsy and my website below.